We spend a third of our lives in bed, and for some people that's not a very pleasant experience. Many of us have trouble getting to sleep or staying asleep, and that's creating significant problems for personnel health and public safety. Think about this the next time you're driving. 28% of Americans admit they've fallen asleep at the wheel. That means they're also falling asleep at work, and during times they'd rather be awake and having fun. Tonight, IdeaStream begins a week of coverage titled Sleep, a Wake-Up Call. Here to help us understand the problem is sleep expert Dr. Mansoor Ahmed, who's the Chief Medical Officer at the Southwest Cleveland Sleep Center. Thanks for coming. This is a bigger problem than I thought. 28% of people admit they've fallen asleep at the wheel of the car.
Absolutely. Only recently we started to know about these things. These problems have been in existence, but it's getting worse because most of the Americans over here are not taking adequate sleep. Majority of the individuals over here do not sleep enough time, which is approximately 7 to 8 hours. As a result of that, they accumulate what we call is a sleep deficiency over the period of time. And that is the lack of sleep or inadequate sleep. And the problem is not only the driving, but the recent the control tower, the airport problems.
Oh, yes.
People, two individuals fall asleep, and they were night shift work. Most of the people even don't get adjusted to the night shift, and they don't sleep adequately. So do you have a double whammy, inadequate sleep and biological clock problem readjustment issues. And, but there are many, many, many examples.
You've pointed out that it's not merely not enough sleep, but it's if you don't get sleep at the time your body wants you to get sleep, like around 3 in the morning, if that happens to be the schedule you're on, then you can have an increased chance of falling asleep, right? Like perhaps these tower controllers were.
Absolutely. What we is called now as well-known entities called the shift work syndrome. Many individuals will not be able to adjust their biological clock when they work on the night shift. As a result of that, you're absolutely right that 3 o'clock is the peak time that when we tendency to fall asleep, and that's why they are essentially falling asleep during the shift work. So the examples, I think more dramatic example of the sleep deprivation or shift work are the 2 incidences which I will stay, I think, in our memory for a long time. Challenger tragedy, and there was a very small little mechanical problem which called the O-ring. And they did all the research, they put all the commissions to find out why the Challenger blew up. And it turned out to be the individuals who are working in the final details of the spaceship, that individuals were working that shift work. And that's why they couldn't pay attention. It was not a major job. And that's led to that technical problem, which essentially led to the Valdez, Exxon Valdez, another example. And there are so on and so forth, you know, and then there was a air traffic accident in Lexington, you know, when the control tower person let the airplane go on the wrong highway, on the wrong runway, and that they have a crash and 40 people died. So there are so many examples.
Well, are you, should we do away with rotating shift work, or should we, the idea of having the people in the control towers take naps was brought up. Is a nap healthy in a thing like that?
Oh, absolutely. I think the nap is a natural remedy to overcome the sleepiness. Rather than punishing the people that you cannot take the nap, it's a fundamentally wrong approach. Even the FAA after these incidences, you know, came back with a, well, you cannot take the nap.
We're not going to pay you to take a nap.
That's exactly right, you know. I think that's fundamentally, it doesn't fit very well with the human need if you take the nap at the right time, and that should be allowed. And I think that and this will change. I very, very strongly believe and predict that in the coming years, there will be far more stricter regulations. There will be far more accommodation of the understanding of the facts of physiology that what need to be done.
Yeah. Well, you point out a lot of things, some of which we've heard of before, some of which we haven't. Tips for people like sleep in a darkened room, no excess noise except for possibly white noise, don't drink coffee or stimulants. You also said, don't drink alcohol before you go to bed. Now, a lot of people of a certain era, and I'm one of them, we talked about a nightcap. You know, this will help me sleep better. But you say it may make you sleepy, but it does not improve your sleep, right?
Well, that's absolutely right. What alcohol does is that it is a very strong hypnotic. That people can take alcohol to fall asleep. First of all, they have some fundamental issue that why they are not falling asleep, and now they are depending on alcohol because it's available, and it makes people to fall asleep. But what happens is alcohol disappears from the system in 3 hours, and then you're left with frequent keep waking up throughout the night. So, and it causes more problems the next day because it disturbs and rebound, phenomena happens and people get more tired. So whenever we see individuals who are drinking alcohol, it's very important to ask the questions that are they becoming dependent on the alcohol, and we also then go back that why they are having a difficulty in falling asleep to begin with.
Well, thank you. Let me move across here to something else. Thursday night on WVIZ PBS will debut half-an-hour in-depth look at our problems with sleep. Now, one of those is a breathing problem called sleep apnea. The gold standard of treatment is with a mask people wear to bed that helps them breathe. But not everyone can tolerate such a device. And as we see in this short clip, some new therapies are in development.
Good. Now I'm going to listen to your heart.
61-year-old Bob Armstrong is the first person in Ohio to participate in a research study to test a new type of therapy. Think of it as tongue zapping.
Okay, Mr. Armstrong, I want to look at this scar here.
Beneath Armstrong's skin sits a stimulator surgically implanted in his chest like a pacemaker for the heart. The stimulator is connected to a sensor programmed to the patient's breathing patterns. When it's time to breathe, an electrical impulse is sent to a nerve in the neck, causing the tongue to stick out and preventing the airway from collapsing.
As you're breathing in, a current will go into the nerve and will stiffen or even push the tongue out just enough so that it permits airflow through the upper airway.
Armstrong says at first, the system was programmed a little too strong.
Like a lizard. My wife said I look like a lizard at night, but go like this. But now it goes about like this. Don't even see it. It just barely pushes out my tongue, so.
Armstrong uses an external device to turn on the system at bedtime. During our interview, he turned it on and we saw it work.
What is it? It's zapping it?
You're zapping it out. You see it?
Doesn't hurt?
No, it doesn't hurt. But you should see it just a little bit. And I must blur speech.
Now, Sleep, a wake-up call, debuts Thursday night, June 30th on WVIZ PBS. And there's more information about sleep on our website at WVIZ.org. Okay, well, you saw the guy acting like a lizard. Is that really what happens? It sounds awfully painful to me, but it's not, I guess.
The CPAP?
Yeah.
The mask? Well, there are some individuals who will not be able to tolerate it, just claustrophobia and a variety of reasons. But individuals who have symptoms are very sleepy and tired, they will put it, and it's like a heaven. It makes a day and night difference when they wake up and all that, and they usually end up in sticking to CPAP.
You know, one of the things that I found in the research that was sent over was we talked about people in shift works having problems, but we talked also about nurses and people in hospitals who are forced to work odd shifts, residents, for example, who could actually work a shift in a hospital and fall asleep on the way home in the car.
Oh, absolutely. I think that there's still a lot of lag between what we know at the moment. Chuck Seisler at Harvard and other individuals who are working on the sleep deprivation, the shift work, and the biological clock rhythm problem. The science is there. The facts are there. Actually, there's a congressional hearing on this topic this year, but it will take a monumental effort on the part of individuals who are organizing these things to understand that these are very, very important issues.
Well, let's hope that effort is forthcoming. I want to thank you for being here tonight, Doctor. Thanks for tuning in to you. Sweet dreams. We'll see you next week.